in News Now. I'm JB. We're doing Common Threes today, highlighting 3 stories in the news from which we might learn something new, with a side of personal opinion. Our first news item is on the coronavirus. We do know that it got passed on to humans and then we pass it on to each other. But recently, minks were in the news. In Denmark, they are annihilating millions of minks to prevent any risk of a mutated strain of coronavirus. In the US, they're just monitoring or quarantining the mink farms. What are minks, you ask? They are semi-aquatic carnivorous mammals closely related to otters and ferrets, and they're being bred and raised in farms to collect their pelt to produce mink coats. That's another thing that this pandemic has given us, at least. A chance to displace or replace fur farming businesses. News item number 2 is about Typhoon Ulysses. He's currently howling outside, so please be careful, take shelter, batten down the hatches, and make sure you have what you need. In the Philippines, we started naming typhoons in the 60s. There's an international name and there's our local name, so that the names of bagyos are familiar to us, and it will help push the information along better than if we use, say, Bagyong Jangmi or Bagyong Kujira. Recently, we started using 4 set lists containing 25 names that begin with the letter A through Z, except for the letter X. Yes, exclude the X. This list will be reused every 4 years, so in 2024, in the latter part of that year, we'll hear Quinta, Rolly, Shawnee, and Ulysses all come back. And in case the number of storms or typhoons go over 25, our Weather Bureau also prepared 4 sets of additional 10 names from A to J. Our last news item is on the spat between Senators Risa Ontiveros and Pia Cayetano. Let's just assume that they both have good intentions. Senator Ontiveros wants to investigate the contract and the large amount of money paid to a contractor in building a sports complex used in the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. Rooting out any corruption is good, but just trying to find out who out-corrupted you or seeking out the strategies of getting in on multi-billion peso projects is not. On the other hand, Senator Cayetano is dismayed by the apparent lack of care for the Filipino athletes. Give them what they need and what they are due. They give our country honor by winning in global sporting events. But they train by themselves or in rotting gyms? What has the Congress, including the Senate, done for our athletes? Not just wail and bemoan their situation, I hope. What we should be doing is apportioning more money that will not get stolen by corrupt officials to support their training and development. Weightlifting, gymnastics, volleyball, track, figure skating, and lots more, not to mention boxing. What is our Philippines Olympic Committee doing? Is it enough? The term used by Senator Ontiveros to describe the project triggered Senator Cayetano. White elephant. Christmas season, white elephant, trying to get the gift that you want or might be most valuable by taking it from someone who had already picked it before you. But Senator Ontiveros meant white elephant as in an object, project, facility, etc. considered expensive or extravagant, but without use or value. That's relative. It's like an investment. It's like an insurance. Question mark. You spend billions for a complex that will only be used whenever we host a big sports event. If you think that way, yes. By the time we host another one without proper maintenance, that facility will probably look and feel old. But unfortunately, there are no giant mobile sports complexes for rent for a month at a time. So we have to invest in sports complexes, in cultural centers, in museums, in libraries. Just like we're paying for the salaries of government officials such as senators, who we can only hope give back as much value to the Filipino public as we deserve. And that's our 3 items for today. Feel free to comment down below on what your thoughts are on the mass slaughter of animals who could potentially cause a worse strain of coronavirus, on the reuse of sets of names for our typhoons, and on the thought of sports complexes being useless government expenses. Chat with you again soon on our next Come in 3.